So, you want to play Punisher. Frank Castle is the perfect hero for those people who just want to turn their brains off and shoot.
Judge! Jury!
I need more bullets!
No. Wait.
But don't let the simplicity fool you, because there's a lot of room for mastery and skill expression hidden deep within the kit. So as a top 500 player with a ton of my time played on Punisher, we'll go over how his abilities work and then add some extra info about counters, and of course, as usual, the video will be sprinkled with useful tips throughout. So let's just dive into it. Education is Punisher's primary weapon, and it's really what you'll be shooting with for most of the game. It's an automatic assault rifle with pretty minimal bloom or recoil, making it a pretty good tool to deal with priority targets over the longer ranges. Education is a hit scan weapon, meaning that the bullets instantly go where your crosshair is aiming. That being said, it does have some pretty rough damage fall off past 20 and then of course 40 meters, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be going for chip damage on those priority targets such as healers or flankers, or most importantly, flyers if you get the chance. If you hit a solid enough beam, this is usually enough to kill them or at the very least take them down to almost no health. You'll be using Education for most of the game, but if the enemies do get close enough, or you need a real burst of damage, then there's also Deliverance. And Punisher's second weapon, Deliverance, is a semi-automatic shotgun with a ton of damage and the ability to headshot. This means that if your enemies are close enough and squishy enough, then a headshot that hits most, if not all pellets, into the head will one-shot most heroes. This is especially useful if you're deciding to jump in and take a duel or fight most flankers, as they probably will be really close and easy to kill thanks to the damage of your shotgun, you playing cover, and of course abusing your wall-like passive, and then just kind of jumping in and out of cover until they're dead. It's worth noting that Deliverance, much like all types of ranged attacks in Marvel Rivals, has the bullets travel from the gun towards the crosshair. This normally doesn't make that much of a difference when using his assault rifle or anything else, but since the shotgun forces you to play really up close, you will oftentimes find yourself in situations where you need to hit some very difficult shots. If you're close enough to your enemy, then you'll hit way more of your shots by aiming to the right side of them, where the imaginary line between the weapon and your crosshair passes through them, rather than trying to aim right on top of them. This effect is very important to know about when fighting taller targets, which is most of them on account of Punisher being a manlet, since you need to aim above their heads and sometimes even jump if you actually want to land a headshot. Using the shotgun against most tanks is a given, especially something like a Venom that face checks you. If any tank gets close enough, it's usually really easy to fill them with shotgun shots either in the body or in the head, which then lets you melt them in no time. You can even use the shotgun to one-shot certain heroes that you know are going to stand still, or if you just manage to sneak up on one. For example, if your team got Groot ulted, or if you get a lucky break with a cloak and dagger getting too close mid-ultimate, then a perfectly lined up headshot will take him out. Switching between the shotgun or assault rifle will make you automatically reload the other if you wait for long enough. The difference between just reloading or switching is negligible, but it helps you know that your magazine will be full, but it helps a lot to know that your magazine will be full once you switch back. This also serves another purpose where, depending on the game, you might find yourself in a situation where you can use either your shotgun or your rifle and still get good value for both. In these situations, you could just keep swapping between your weapons as you see fit and know that you always have a full magazine ready for you. Punisher can also fire a smoke grenade towards the crosshair, which propels them backwards, deals a little bit of damage, and covers the impact point with some smoke. The smoke grenade is a great way to give yourself a little bit of space if you get dove, and it can also be used straight down or even upwards if you want to boost yourself vertically. I'll normally use this as a movement ability more than anything else, usually in conjunction with my zipline, which we're going to cover later, since it lets you course correct if you get a bad flight path as you're midair, or you just need to move a little bit, or maybe you need to cut off your flight path from you getting one clipped. And since the smoke grenade cancels out your current trajectory and then adds a new one, this makes it perfect to survive certain abilities that otherwise might have gotten you killed. For example, if you get hit by Magic's uppercut or Spider-Man's uppercut, then you hopefully might have your shotgun out, in which case you could smoke grenade to get away from their damage range and also cut their line of sight because of the smoke, and then get free shots on them while you are both locked midair. In certain cases, this can also be used to help you from being booped off of the map from heroes like Invisible Woman or Jeff and his ultimate. Unlike the zipline, the smoke grenade also lets you b-hop after landing to retain some momentum, which is pretty useful when you want to get back to point or you just want to get more distance from it. It is a bit tricky though, as you manually need to jump once and the timing is rough, but just keep trying it, and once you get more comfortable, you're going to start having a lot more movement with Punisher. Punisher's passive is the legal wall hack. It keeps a vision of any enemies that go behind cover for the next 3 seconds after they get out of view, as long as they are within the range of 30 meters. The color of the wall hack shows you the amount of health, and once they are critical, it is a very visible red. Usually when enemies are highlighted in this deep red, then they are low health enough to be finished off with a smoke grenade, assuming they are, let's say, around a corner. I love this ability so much because it gives you so much awareness, and not many notice, but you can actually ping enemies through the passive as well, which is incredibly useful if you need your team to pay attention to a flanker that might have just shown their face for a fraction of a second, but you can still see them thanks to your wall hack. And if you're confident you can win your 1v1s against these enemy flankers, then this ability is always the best way for you to keep track of them and force duels on your terms. For example, if you're poking in and out around corners and just kind of tracking them through the walls, as I mentioned when we were talking about the shotgun. Punisher can also place a turret on the ground where he stands. This turret fires projectiles rather than a hit scan bullet, and these explode on impact, dealing a normal shot's worth of damage on a direct hit, and then an additional shot's worth of damage with the explosion. In this turret, Frank has 600 health, and the turret has a separate hitbox from his own. And while he cannot be stunned by any ultimates or abilities, including something like Jeff's ultimate, Punisher can still get hit by damage from behind that deal damage to Punisher himself rather than the turret. To leave the turret, you can just hit the turret key again or use up your entire ammunition's worth, which is visible here on your screen. Taking all 600 damage also takes you out of the turret, but locks you in an animation with several players from the enemy team not only looking at you but also shooting at you, meaning you'll most likely die right after the turret breaks, so jumping out of it before that happens is usually ideal. Thanks to its splash damage, I actually like using the turret on defense or when I know enemies are going to come through, say a choke, or at the very least push together. It tears through shields pretty damn fast and charges my ultimate up like crazy if I get to keep dealing damage over a longer period of time. If I am defending, I sometimes set up in spots where I can spam the turrets against their spawn, at the very least for a few seconds, just to get some free damage in. Getting these angles can be a bit difficult, especially with how clunky placing a turret can feel, but you'd be surprised to learn just how many weird off angles you can place a turret on once you understand how it works. Basically, rather than thinking of placing the turret needing a massive, turret-sized circle in order to be deployed, think of it as a solid line instead. If you have space in front of you and space behind you, then the turret can usually be placed, even on ledges that you think are way too thin. So if you're on a ledge but you just cannot get the turret off, just turn 90 degrees and most of the time it works. And after you place it, you can still turn however you would like. Just keep in mind that the turret doesn't let you aim straight downwards, so it's really not possible to shoot at enemies right underneath you from a high ground. In addition to using it for pre-firing, I also sometimes pop the turret in the middle of a fight if the situation calls for it. This gives me a little bit more survivability and potentially more damage, especially if the enemies are clumped up, but it is a last resort that really only works if I use it after the enemies stop looking my way for about a second, since entering the turret locks me into an animation that gets me killed instantly if I pop it while they're already shooting at me. So when defending, as I mentioned, when it comes to placing these turrets, you just want to put a lot of damage on enemies as they come out of spawn. You rarely actually want to stay on that turret for a long period of time because you rarely will do anything with it. One common one I very often do is I just get up here, any angle, just shoot at this here. If they're coming on left, just shoot here, and just shoot as much as you can until you can't anymore. Break this wall here, make a little hole. I like this angle more because it's perfect lineup for when they are playing the corner here. Just if you want a lot of splash damage, just perfect. You can also get the flankers here, break this if you want to. It's up to you, and it'll make a little vantage point here. This is a good way to do a lot of damage on people that are going to be coming through a choke. You can sort of do the same thing here, but it puts it very exposed, so I wouldn't recommend it. If I would do it anywhere, it would probably be like around here, just getting a little bit of cheeky damage here off the side, shooting down on that, like that. When defending the third point, it's not really a reasonable place to put a turret here. I guess if the enemy team, we manage to push them back from spawn, so they're stuck here, then you just want to put damage on when they are where they are coming out. Sorry. So you would put the turret right here. I did a little turning trick here. I messed it up a little bit. Needed to be a little bit more to the left, but I don't want to waste my cooldown. Or wait for the cooldown again. Just kind of do it from this window. You can do a lot of damage. Obviously, you don't get to keep it, and you need to kind of fall back afterwards, but it's a good way to go about it. As for turret spots, again, you just want to shoot. You just want to place it in places where the enemy will not be able to shoot you back or like really engage on you when you do. One spot you could do is right here. This is a bit cheeky. You get up on this high ground here, and then you know, if this only works if you already held and won one fight, and you think they're gonna come up from again, you could shoot either here. Maybe break this one to get a bit like kind of line of sight. You just spam it, and you can also just spam here, and you can spam here. It really depends, but it lets you see everything. It just requires a little bit of awareness. You can also get up on this chandelier. Now, the enemies can shoot it down, but you can play up on top of it. The downwards angle is a bit awkward, but you can still hit them enough if they're coming out of the choke here. An off angle will let you hit above the tanks. You can't really hit here, but I mean, if you place on the right side of the chandelier. There. You just get up on this little thing here. And as I mentioned, you can also just, if you turn your view enough, you can actually put a turret here as well. And you can actually just fire the turret through here. You can hit them in the back here, you can hit them right there, and the tree's in the way. And you can just ping enemies through the grass here, through the tree, and you can see them. And they can kind of not shoot back. It's a bit scuffed one way to do it. You should be shooting, pinging through it to begin with when you play on this. You can actually get up on this little thing here, and you can see their spawn from here, so you could shoot here. It's obviously they can just shoot you out of the spawn, so it is a bit scuffed. But you might be able to catch them on the run up, and you know, it's pretty risk-free because you can drop off the high ground as soon as it's broken, or you quit it. When you're looking for a turret, there's some crazy stuff you can do at this defense point that I do want to show you. There's a ton of them, and it's probably way more of them than I know. The most notable one is actually this roof up back here. You can not only make a zipline to it, but you can stand on it, and you can put a turret right here. Gives you a perfect view right on this choke that the enemies will come out of. Absolutely perfect. You can also do a smoke jump up on this thing here, and just shoot down on them. There's not really a lot of line up here. I just wanted to mention it. You could do a turret here, but it's not really going to help with this range. I guess you can see there's this thing over here. Another spot I didn't show that you can use if you do want to defend or whatever, especially with your turret, is you can get up on this sign here. It's indestructible, as you can see. Once this bridge is down, you can just kind of sit here and spam shot. There's going to be enemies on this high ground here. Not on the high ground, on the low ground here, and they're going to take a lot of damage. I haven't pushed the point up, so it doesn't let me shoot that. So up here, kind of should have aimed it higher, but yes, that works. Or up in this. And if you're defending, you can put a turret here as well. And just spam the corner. Again, you just want to spam corners with the turret. You can spam corners from up here as well. When you're defending on this specific map, 2099, this is one of my favorite spots with my turrets. This is a perfect example where you need to make sure you're facing the right way so it actually works. Put you in a turret, and then you can see the spawn right here, and you will hit them as they're running out. You'll probably get like 10-20% charge if you are lucky. Another great turret spot is, of course, up here. This one is super kind of like temporary. You're not going to get too much value out of it, but you could just sit here and shoot down on them when it comes out if they are about to run the corner. You could also shoot them from this high ground here, of course, and you just kind of hit them when they come out of the corner. But again, you're not going to get that much value out of it. And I also want to mention this one as well, especially if you come out of the bridge here. If you stand up on this, you can make a zip line from about here to this thing here, and it'll actually let you fly over here. A little bit of correction needed there, but then you can shoot right down on this. Keep in mind, this is breakable, so if it's fully broken, then obviously you can't. But if you shoot down from here, you can put a turret up. Really, whatever you want to do. It's just really valuable to know you can do that on defense. A good turret spot on this specific map is a domination, so you're not really going to get to use your turret that much. But a very underrated spot is, of course, up here, just because you can shoot down on them here. You're far away from the enemies and usually cannot reach you. Also, when you're playing on this map, if you want to get some free damage on enemies, because enemies are going to run out of this here about 90% of the time, just put a turret down in this thing here and just spam it at them right there. Another great turret spot if you have taken the point and they're coming out. In addition to this one over here, they might want to come out of this choke here. What you do is just put a turret, climb up on this thing here, and you can put a turret right here. And you can hit them perfectly when they come around the corner. A really good turret spot on this map that I found, other than just kind of sitting back here and blinking when you come back, you could, for example, put one. I'm actually going to show you. A pretty solid spot on this map if you do want to just get some shots on the enemies as they walk in and gives you a little bit of old charge. Would be back here on this one here. Just, you know, again, 90 degrees. Set up this thing here, and you can see right into the spawn here. This is also breakable, so you can see right into this spawn here. So most likely you'll get the damage no matter where to walk up. This one is a bit, I almost say obvious. It's not really that special, but that's why I got another banger for you. This is a great spot, and it's especially good if the enemy team just kind of rushes on the point, because they'll never expect to look here. Basically, it's on this kitty cat here. So you make a zip line up, get up on this little spot here, turn 90 degrees, and you can kind of shoot him here, but it's a bit scuffed. You really just want it so you can hit the point from here and hit him from an unexpected angle. But it's very niche. Sometimes it might work out. There's probably more spots in here too that we don't know about. When you're defending the first point, one of the more obvious spots to put your turret is going to be somewhere like here. You just kind of want to shoot down on the choke, so you can hit this choke and hit that choke. Should get them pretty easily. But there's a few cheeky turret spots that I've experimented a bit with that aren't too terrible, but you know, it's up to you to try it out and see if it works for you. One very cheeky spot is right here. You break this wall here. You're gonna have to really do this super fast, because it basically, you'll have just a few seconds after you break this wall. So you're actually gonna shoot this side here, and as soon as you run out of ammo, you put the turret up and you break the last of the hole. This gives you this tiny little shooty hole, and they usually rotate up here, so you can shoot them as they run up. You get about this much worth before you have to get out of it or you're gonna get run over, but it is a good way to cheek some damage. And then the second place is, of course, a little bit more well-known by now, but I'll mention it anyways. You get up on this thing here. You stand here, and then you can see the spawn from here. You get set up. You've set up a little bit more sneakily here, a little bit on the corner. You can expose yourself less to it, and you still have a good angle from here, where you can shoot down on them, even here if you really want to. This is also a great spot to place a turret, not only because it messes with them if they do play right underneath you, or not too far. You can go all the way down. This is as far as down as you can aim, but you can shoot them when they're here. But you can also spam it right here and kind of dish a lot of damage as you come around the corner. Probably not get a pick, but you never know, right? When I am defending on Klyntar, something I really like doing is getting up on this thing here and then just kind of getting the angle just right. Probably put it about here. I'm gonna look around it, get those 90 degrees. Get on the turret. And just gonna shoot here. If they walk up main, they're gonna take a lot of poke damage as they do so. And it's very common they do walk up main here. You could set up here, but it's really risky. A spot I like using, depending if we're defending, we got the first point. We want to get some Punisher poke again with the turret. Normally use one of these pillars. This one usually works pretty well. Set up your turret. And then you can just shoot on them when they run in here. Obviously the pillar can be destroyed, so you would fall down, but you can still get some opening damage for free. What you can do also is you can just stand on this console. I'd say... Let's see. Have to stand on this console. You just look a little bit to the side here. There we go. This gives you a tiny bit of cover, but you can still see as deep as you want without, risking too much. You can always move up a bit more, but I wouldn't recommend it. When you're playing on the Super Soldier Factory, something I like doing if I am looking for a good angle to be spamming shots into the enemy spawn is this little room right here. As this lets me see right here, enemies almost always comes from this specific corridor. You can put a lot of shots down and they can't really do much there. Some people might put the turret up here, which also gives the same effect, but it is much closer and it makes you more susceptible to being hit from a flanker coming up from here or something like that. So back here is a lot safer. And finally, when you're defending on this map on the last point, if they do push all the way up, again, this can be broken and changed. But until it hasn't been broken or reverted, you come on the right side, you can put a zipline here, and that will put you up here. And you can actually stand on this thing here and just shoot down on them. And you can even put a turret here, assuming it hasn't been broken yet. And then you shoot down on the choke here. Great place to be. Just make sure you have LOS with your healers. Maybe you want to be here. From the back here, against this thing here, jumping around there. And then you're gonna get up on this thing, shoot down there too. That's on the defense again, turret. You can really put the turret anywhere. This map is crazy with chokes. Easy way to get a lot of pre-fire damage just by doing that. Moving on, we have Punisher's Zipline. Using this zipline places a zipline where your crosshair is aiming up to 35 meters away. Keep in mind that it only can be placed against horizontal surfaces and the ground, but never any roofs or ceilings. After placing, Punisher will zipline towards the end of the zipline, launching forward once it hits the end of it, or if you manually jump off yourself. If the zipline clips you into a rock or some other obstacle on the way, then you kind of get stuck and bounce upwards instead. Because of this, you need to be careful when placing the zipline in a straight line, since if you touch the ground, you will get launched upwards. Normally, I just try placing the zipline in ways where it's at least slightly above the ground on the end side if I want to use it both ways, or at a slight incline at least if I only want to use it one way to launch myself. It's also handy to know that after the flight starts, after the zipline, much like many other movement abilities in the game, it can be impacted by your movement keys while you are midair. Just by you moving left to the right, you will gradually move one way or the other, which can be helpful to slightly change your trajectory to land exactly where you want to. Punisher can only have 3 ziplines active at a time, and if you keep placing them, it will replace the oldest one. If I am defending, I try to make sure I have a clean path from spawn to the point with as few ziplines as possible to ensure I easily can zipline back if I get picked or if it's needed. Sometimes if I'm holding a point and know that the enemy team has divers that really want my number, then I usually put a zipline between 2 high grounds that I easily can zipline to whenever I get dove. Usually the divers will have wasted their cooldowns to get to me, so this gives me some needed space to survive. And it's also worth noting, even though it is kind of hard to do much with it, Punisher can also shoot while he is riding the zipline. I've kind of learned to use the zipline intuitively after experimenting a lot, and I suggest you do the same. But that being said, here are some ziplines that I think you can have a lot of use of. Alright, so starting off with the first rollout, of course, out of spawn here on Yggsdrasil. I don't know the maps that well, but normally I come out of spawn, I put one right here, and then we just jump here, and we can go there. You follow up with a right click, B hop, I did fail there, and then you'll be right here. If you need to go to the high ground instead, if you want to protect, I normally use this lantern right here. And then it should get me all the way here. A little bit of right click here, and we are on the high ground just like that. You can shoot down on these guys, and we are on the high ground. Very useful when you are defending. When you're defending the second point, there's a lot of different ways you can do to approach, you know, actually close the gap. I like having a zipline active here, so I can just easily, you know, get past this part. You do a little nice lineup. You can jump through here. Very nice. And then, you know, the point will be right here. I realize that, you know, you probably want some type of lineups. I do it intuitively at this point, but I know what I want to accomplish, which helps. If you come out of the right spawn door, you can also go for this high ground up here. Just go a little bit to the left, jump at the end here right before, and there you go. Again, no lineups, just kind of, when you practice it enough, it's going to be natural, but you see me doing it, you should be able to replicate it. This helps us get to this part. And the reason we want to have many ziplines open or up is because now we can take a zipline, jump, embarrassingly fail it, and then we can actually move forward even more. So if we wanted to be, let's say on this high ground, or we want to be on this high ground, then we'll come out of here, zipline, and we're right here, assuming we just gotta get really close. As I mentioned, like if I do die after this point, I can just use both of these ziplines to get back super fast. So it doesn't even matter if I'm turbo anything or anything like that. Finally, on the last point, if I am defending, maybe I put a, you can make a zipline from inside here, so you can actually zipline outwards. I don't have the last point unlocked, so I can't do it right now, but you can. And then you go like that, and you can just jump all the way to the end if you do it from outside. So if you need to hold them real close, that's an easy way to close the gap. As I mentioned, you can also have a zipline between the high grounds like this, and you will be able to get it just like that if you want to jump back if you're getting dove or whatnot. You can also come from the left side here if you would like that as well. This one, I don't really have that many lineups for because I almost always come out of here. This one actually doesn't have any reasonable lineups. I guess you go here, then jump like that if you really want to get up on height, but yeah, that's on defense. When you are attacking on the first point, there's not really as many needed lineups, I would say, because you rarely will feel like you do need to zipline anywhere. But I like using this one right here as it lets me get up on this high ground. If I want to get like an off angle here, shotgun, ultimate, or whatnot, you can also use the same one to kind of just jump in here in the front if you really want to turbo in or something like that. When attacking on the second point, you can either come from the high ground or just come from up here. You do a grapple on this thing here, jump, and you get right on the high ground. Very nice. Also, this one is super niche, but you might actually want to know about it if you want to get like a weird off angle. You can actually get on top of this thing over here. Just jump up here and not fail this zipline. Like, you can just shoot down here. You can stand on these if you really want to. Maybe you want to catch someone off guard. Maybe the support's coming out here. Just want to beam him, ult him, or whatever. Now you can. Moving on to attack. When you move forward here, there's going to be another one. You can come out of this high ground if you want to get really far away, or you can come from the low ground, but you're going to use this corner. So you use this corner and just jump, and you can get all the way back here if you want to. You'll get an off angle. You can return to a fight if there's a fight going on right here, but you also get a good off angle. You can shoot at people down here. You can shoot at, like, down here if they need an off angle. You can do all this up there. Like, you can literally jump in the face of a Hela or something like here. Just from low ground, I also show that it's the same. You just use that corner. It's very simple once you really do this a lot, but hopefully this gives you guys an idea. Again, just from low ground, you can get to this one. Pretty simple stuff. Then let's see, we're gonna take a look here once you're attacking. So we've already done all this, and obviously you can zip from here, like get up here. As we continue, then we're attacking. We're gonna get here. Now obviously you can shoot this down if you want to walk up. You can also make a zip line, and you can run through here, get a back line. Oftentimes I like playing from this high ground over here. So something you could do, depending on, you know, so you're not too pushed up, is you can make a zip line here, jump, and then you'll be right here. You shoot down. And if you go from this high ground here as well, you can just come out here, shoot down on them, and if you want to cross the gap, very simple. There's a gazillion ways to do this, but you can probably do it like that. Use the right click if you need to. Probably not the best way to do it. It's probably a better lineup. It doesn't really matter too much. And then you get up on this. You will rarely probably play up on this unless it's a very specific situation, because there's going to be pressure on the sides here. You're probably just going to play from back here. Most of the times they're up here. Anyways, so moving on, we have Domination. Starting off, we'll have the zip lines. This is one of those, because the map is mirrored, you can kind of just do the same ones over and over. You know, no matter which side you're on. To the right side here, you can obviously go to the left, but either way, just make us like a little zip line out of the spawn. You come here. And then you're probably going to go and play it again. It's going to be enemies right here. You know, the rest of the game will play out. As there's a better zipline, we can do it in a little bit. Then from here, there's not really usually like much of a need to do a zipline anywhere. But if you do want to do a zipline, a little bit of aggressive, you can just do it like that. And you get up on this high ground here. You can shoot down on them or whatever you want to do. It's just a good way to off angle. And as I said, you know, now that we have these ziplines placed, especially because it's Domination, you can just come back. And as soon as we do... But then as soon as we die, we'll be back here and spawn. You already have the zipline ready to go. So if you get picked, you just take the zipline again, probably a better way to do this one so you can fly even farther, but it is what it is. And then the zipline up here. Now I like this stage a lot more because this one has some crazy lineups you can do with the zipline. So first and foremost, this is a 2-step zipline. Obviously out of spawn you can I would use this one, but I would rather use this one. Just jump like there and that puts you right here. Good spot. Just as a starter, and you can come back to it later. So once you've taken the zipline and once you're back here, what you could do, you can also just walk up to this point. It's completely up to you. You can either zipline to this one right here, and then just jump it up there. You get on the point if you need to jump on the point for whatever reason. And then finally this one, there's a lot of different ways you can approach this point with a zipline coming out of spawn. What I usually do is I just kind of walk up here, make a zip and jump, and you can get into the little hole here. B-hop, I kind of whiffed it, but then you come out here on the bottom, which is very convenient if for some reason you want to come out on the bottom. Now, if you don't want to do that and you want to get up on the high ground instead, what you could do is you come all the way to the right here, then you put it up on this high ground here is important, and then you can kind of just cruise in and you get right here. Absolutely perfect. And then you can shoot down on the point as you want. You can go up on the higher ground or whatever you want to do. So moving on, when you want to defend on this Spider Zero, Returning Spider Islands, I don't know the names of the maps. I don't know if it matters. When you come out of spawn here to defend, what I normally do is I want to put a zip line either here or here, normally here. Just jump kind of like that, and you do a little bit of air drifting there, or air acceleration, air strafing, hit the thing here, and you're up on the high ground. You can also use that same one to just get up here, make a follow-up zipline up on this high ground here. If they do take the first point, you're going to spawn over here. There's a lot of ways to approach it. Normally, when you just try to get up on some high ground, get some nice angles, you can jump here. Just like that, assuming the truck is right over here. Shoot on it. But what you also can do is, when you come out of spawn, if you want to get even deeper, you want to hold from this roof over here, is you get to the same spot, put the zip line right here. Wait, no, look it up. There we go. And then you just jump, and then we have this second here, a little nice off angle, gets you right back on track. And then obviously if you want to get here, you just kind of make a zip line, kind of come out here, you make a zip line up against this one here, and then you just glide in there. Absolutely beautiful. If the last point gets taken, there's a lot of things you can do. Usually I would probably just walk up here. You could put a zip line, I guess, here, just kind of get up on the high ground or something. But generally speaking, you can just walk. It's not that far from spawn, unless you're in a rush to get back onto the point. All of this could be broken as well, which might be a difficult, might be a problem, but if it's broken, you could just kind of use the same zip line and jump, and you know, just glide here if you want to get on the point. If it's farther back, obviously, like if they just took it, probably not going to want to walk past this point here anyways. So you're going to look for a zip line that brings you, that's again the same one. It's all about air drifting this way. But you could obviously do a little zip line and jump up on this thing here, like that. Shoot down if you really need to. So when you're attacking, what you want to do is just get up on the high ground in any way you can. This will help you clear out if there is anyone holding close. There probably won't be. And then what I do, we just jump right here. Get around, and you can just kind of shoot them. You can get on this roof. Like, you have a great high ground here. It'll put a lot of pressure on them. Obviously, they can use this jump pad here, but that's about it. From here, you can also clear this out, clear that out. And obviously, you can also get up on this thing I showed on the defense. And I don't know how much it will help, but you can if you want to. When you have taken the first point, you're going to want to, you're going to spawn right here. So if you come out of spawn, what you can do is, this is the most common one for me, is I actually just take the jump pad up here, I come out here, and I place a zipline here. It's not like super optimal, but you might as well if you just want to get back as fast as possible, especially with how close the fights are. You can shoot here, you can walk up here and do whatever you want. Once you've done this one here, depending on where you want to end up at, you could drop down here if you want to get like a really wide angle here. Get past this bridge. This one, again, it depends on where people are positioned. So then just like that, and you can actually get up on this thing here. This is super good if you want to do like a weird ultimate or something. I've done it before. You cannot, it's a little bit too thin for a turret sadly, but you can stand on this and you just shoot down on people here with your ultimate, and they can't really shoot you back because they're not going to be here. Super good at catching people off guard. Same thing goes here. If you clear that, you run to that corner, you want to get up on this high ground, just use this sign here. Sorry, use this thing here, not the sign. Jump at the end, and then you're here. You shoot down, off angle. There's a lot of, there's going to be pressure on you from here, but it is very strong. Moving on, when you are attacking, there's not going to be as many good zipline spots here, but we'll try our best. There's, for example, from here, you can do like that, jump, and then you get up on the roof here. So you can shoot back on them if you want to. If you want to just like take aggressive space and shoot them, assuming you don't know how to flush out. You can also shoot down on them here. And either from here, you can make a zipline to get up on this high ground, or you can actually do it from low ground as well. So up here. Kind of should have aimed it higher, but yes, that works. Or up in this. Okay, moving on. This one is a bit special because there's a lot of different ways to go about it. When you're defending on this map, the what's it called, like 2099 map, coming out of spawn, what I do with varied success is I use this bridge here, zipline, jump, and then you can kind of get into this hole here. It's perfect. Just to get up on here, you can shoot, you know, if there's a team holding her. And again, you can just use it to come back later if you really need to reach back. Then another great zipline on the defense from here would be up here.
You need to stop that vehicle in its
Just to, you know, just get on the high ground, right? It's really good. So anyways, if you're defending the second point, what you can do is you can put a zipline so you just kind of end up here, or like do a little smoke B-hop or something so you just get to this point. Once you are here, it depends on, like, maybe you need to hold right here. You'll have to play here. Or you can make a zipline to get here. Or you can also... Let's see if we can hit this one, because it is a bit finicky when they are on the other side. Like that, and then... Now I whiffed it. But it does, this one puts you here, and then if you do it perfectly, you can also get up on the ceiling here. Let's try it one more time. There we go, now we did it right. And you can get up on his roof here, which means you can play either on this side. You can even put a turret here and shoot down if you want to. Or just play from a really nice high ground. It's really nice, really great. And then you can use the same zipline if you need to get really close. You can use the same zipline we used previously and get up on this roof here if you need to. When you're defending the last point, the third point, what you also can do is you obviously walk out here. You can do a little bit of a zipline. I've done a zipline here from the back. It helps a lot the further back you are here. As it kind of puts me here. Really puts me like right back in the mix if I need it. Obviously you can use a zipline over to that. Don't think we need to show it. And that just gives you control over, you know, the defensive side of the map. Now, when you're attacking as a Punisher on this map, obviously your options will be very limited because you're playing, you want to play with your tanks, with your supports and whatnot. But there are some things you can do to get off angles if need be. And the zipline is the best way to do that. So obviously, first and foremost, you want to be able to get up on this thing here. I do not know what they're called, and I do not care to learn. But you can get up on this thing here, the little roof, and then you can shoot down on them here. A little bit of an off angle. Once you get your right click again, you could make a right click jump. You can also make a zipline to go straight up here. I don't have the lineup. But play from this high ground here, you can shoot down the whole time. You can shoot down here and here and here. Then if you need to get up here from this corner, usually you just want to use these little things sticking out as your thing, or like right beneath here, because the roof is a little bit weird. And if you place it too far down, it's just not gonna let you bounce up on it. But you can play from here up here as well. When you have taken the second point, you come out of spawn here. This one is always pretty rough, but it's very doable. Normally what I would recommend doing here is using this tree.
Don't give them another inch.
And then you can just get up here on this high ground. You can shoot down on them, whatever. You know, you can if you want to. Again, this is mostly something you're gonna do when you have your ultimate and you need to off angle. You usually can't do much sustained stuff here. Okay, moving on, we have this map. This is again a domination map, so it's flipped, which makes it easier for me to do lineups because it is mirrored both ways. Now this one has a lot of ways to attack the point. One of the things I like doing out of spawn is just hit this one here, little B-hop, little smoke thing, and we are already here, which is usually where the match starts, but you're gonna be there for everyone else. From the same point in spawn, you can also do a zipline on this thing over here, and then you have a little hole here you can jump into, and you'll get a little bit closer if you would like to do that. Puts you closer to the middle. Okay, moving on, we have the next round here. This one, again, you have a lot of different ways to approach it. Normally what I do is I put a zipline here. Cancel it very early, as this puts you in this room. And then once you get the next one, I put the zipline either here or here, doesn't really matter. And then you jump, and it puts you on this here, the balcony, on the second respawn. So you can, again, come back to the fight very fast. Okay, and finally on this map, on this round, you can put a zipline here, you can jump in here, and you just kind of run up. Alternatively, when I do come out of spawn, I normally just kind of do a quick smoke screen here. B-hop if you can hit it. And you make the zipline here, jump right here or so. And then, you know, if you jump a bit differently, you might get closer. But this is about it. It's not really much more of ziplining here. You can kind of just improvise the rest. When we want to defend on this Wakanda map, there's a million ways you can do it, but on the first point, what I normally do is obviously put a zipline here. And this one you can get so much value from if you're just really comfortable with it. You can get all the way to this side here with one zipline. If you airstrike a little bit differently, you can also land here and just kind of walk up onto the point. Easiest thing in the world. When you are here, you can also get up on a little panther here and just smoke screen, jump up if you really want to, you know, change up your trajectory, change up your position, I should say. Afterwards, if you do land here, what you also can do is you can put another zip line. I believe it is Something like that. And you can get up here as well. This one is not going to be as efficient. You don't even really need it, but it does exist. And then obviously you can zipline up here. Also on defense, one thing I forgot to mention is this here. You can stand on this easily. There's a bunch of ways you can get there, but I've used this a few times on different heroes. And on Punisher, it's no difference. You can get up there as well. You could put a turret or actually just do an ultimate, and you can catch him off guard and kind of beam him down there. When you're defending the second point on this map, what you want to do is, this one is going to be in the way and really awkward to use. What I normally do is just walk past it, maybe do a little bit of a B-hop so you can get here. Then you can do a zip line up here, and that will take you, you know, up here, or just like towards the side in general, as you can shoot back on them when they have come around this corner. You can also break this roof over here. It's very, very good to do so. And then do a zip line from here, and then you can jump up just like that. And again, you have this roof here, you can shoot back at them. You can also get over here. I don't think you can smoke grenade it. No, but you can also stand on that, but it's not as valuable as this one over here. When you're attacking this map, there's a bunch of different ways that you can approach it. One is, of course, just walking up here. This is one of the ones that I rarely do, and I don't think you would do this when you start the game, but you can make a zipline up here, and then kind of get up here, and you can shoot them and take a jewel, and you can cross the gap with a little smoke grenade, walk up, and then you have the high gun here basically off rip. Maybe you can catch a greedy flanker here with a double shotgun shot or something. Not something that I've done, but you know, I mean, who knows, maybe you can do it. When you're coming out from the left here, what you can also do is, this will be in the way, but generally speaking, it's going to be shot down. So generally speaking, it's going to be shot down. What you can do is make a zipline up on this thing here, and then bam, you're going to be here. Again, rarely, as a Punisher, you're not going to get to do much with this for most of the time, but let's say everyone's on a point here, you want to get like a little bit behind them, you want to do your ultimate. Now they're going to be too busy fighting down here, and you get an off angle, maybe catch the support there or something. So one great lineup you could do when you are attacking. Attacking this side is going to be a bit scuffed because there's not really many lineups that I know of. Obviously, you can try to get up here, and you can make, if you get close enough, you could also do a lineup to get up on the big goated higher ground here, challenge someone off of it if someone is here, or just take it if it's completely free and then get a great off angle to shoot and contest everyone. When you come out on this point, when you get up on this high ground, you just kind of do it from here, something like that. Jump in, you got a flank, you can do a little bit of opening damage. And if you are walking out of main here and you want to get to the back, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it, but generally speaking, maybe don't come out from the middle, go from the side here, jump up here, and you're on the height or something like that. It really comes down to how you want to do it. The possibilities are endless. When you're defending on Klyntar, this is actually a bit scuffed because it's not really a good way to do a zipline when you're coming out of the first point. I guess if you come out of the left here, you can do like a bit of these, but you're not really getting like a massive flight off of it. Once you get to this point, what I would normally do, again on defense, you want to have like all this, you want to have these ziplines set up so you can do a rollout once you come back into it. I'll probably just do the one right here. It's not really perfect, but it works. And then you got this high ground here. When we're defending the second point, what I normally do is, so let's say we have to hold them really close and manage to push them back from the first one, or we're just holding close. A good way to do that is, obviously you want to do this from these high grounds here, but you could play from the corner here if you really need to, I guess. I would not recommend it, and generally speaking, you just want to play here. Coming out of spawn, you normally would be running through the doors here and then up here. So what you would do is put a zipline right here and jump at the end. I kind of mess it up there, but it still gets me to the point here. Gets me there. With a little bit of, with a smoke grenade, you can use the same zipline and kind of just jump, readjust at the end, or use a little bit of like air strafe if you can get there too. From this very spot, what you can also do is you can get up on this high ground. It's not really a fancy zipline for this one. Just kind of go like that. And you can play from here. Actually, I overshot it. But what matters more is when you are ziplining straight out of the second spawn here on the defense, because this is a great place to save a lot of time. And there's probably a few ways to do it, but this is definitely the way I would do it. As you come out of the second spawn, I believe that is right here. Yes. And you're going to want to aim for, you're going to stand like here. You're going to want to aim for this over here. Like that. You have to walk up a little bit. I'll show you guys again. This one is a great way to get back into it. So you're going to walk back here. You probably don't even have to walk back here, but just make sure you can stand around this part. Look at this corner here. Look to jump after, and you're going to fly right to the doorway here. And again, then you just follow that up with another one right here. Oh, that's the wrong one. My bad. you could go here, but you could just end up zooming just like that. Perfect. Some air strafing. And now you're back in just a few seconds. So you can either just walk up here on the side, or you can do a zip line. Or if you want to get deeper and hold them really close and come out of spawn, What I was gonna do is walk up here, maybe use a smoke grenade just to, you know, out of spawn, and then use this tree over here from here. Yes. And then I'll put you right next to it. When I am attacking on Klyntar and I want to come out of spawn, obviously you normally go out the right side. Once you go over the left side, you just kind of put it on this roof here, and you're gonna be basically in the action again. But there's way more things you can do here to really make a big difference. So if you, let's say you want to get up on this thing here, this puts you in a perfect spot to pull up a big flank with one zipline, probably here. Yes, and then just like that. And now you're on this off angle. You can break these. I feel really stupid when I shoot the wrong one. You can break this here, and you can kind of shoot it from the side. If you have ult, you can shoot it from the side. You can walk up here on the side. It's very important when you're taking the first point that you move up and take as much space as possible. If this is uncontested space, what I do is I put a zipline right here, and then I jump here, and I try to take this and hold this as much as I can. I'll probably be able to get some free damage here, but eventually I have to step back because you can't hold it. You can also play this one up here. It really depends on how the match goes. Once you're attacking, you're on the third point. You're gonna have to walk out here. No fancy zipline for that, but you can do a lot of things here. We're gonna do a zipline that is similar to the one we did on defense, where you're gonna use this thing here, and then just kind of hang around here. You can shoot down if you want to with an ult. You can also use the same zipline and jump before you hit the end, which sends you deeper. You can even right click here. I didn't have my right click, but it would put me right here. And you can just kind of shoot at them as you want. You get up to this thing here. And then like that. Then that puts you in this high ground. It really depends on how pushed up they are though, because if you do this the wrong way, you're just gonna end up feeding, but it is very useful. You can also get back up on this high ground pretty easily by doing a, let's see, where is it? By breaking this, ziplining here, and then just getting up here. And you can play from this little high ground here. And obviously you can just stand on this, you can get up on this, shoot here as you want. Just be careful not to get picked because you're right next to their spawn. Okay, moving on, we got this domination map. Obviously out of spawn, there's actually a lot of things you can do here. Normally place this one here, you fall down, you can right click, hop. You already kind of cleared the largest gaps you can. Once you are by the point, there's a lot of different ways you can approach this. What I usually do is I kind of just get up on, usually this one is open, depends on what level floor we're on, what level we're on. We can use a little bit of one like that, and you'll get exactly where you want. There's also a flank right here. I'm not sure how much a Punisher would benefit from it, but it might be worth knowing about. Just go out on the side here, depending on which side you spawn on. It's gonna be left or right. And just make a zipline like that, and you can do this tiny hole, and then you have basically freeway into their backline. Again, not sure how much Punisher could use it, but it's worth knowing about. And it's a super fast rollout actually, so if you get really clean with it, you can probably get onto point way earlier than you think. Okay, moving on, we got the frozen airfield on the same map. This one, again, I feel like a broken record. There's plenty of ways to approach this, but normally what I do is just hit this one. It's a bit of a, you have to go by feeling here, because obviously if you put it too close, it's going to be too far down, you're going to clip into the ground, and it's not going to work. And if you don't jump at the right time, you kind of just go here, but you can get even deeper with the same zipline. And finally, on the Super Solar Factory, this one I mess up all the time, but it is actually really simple. When you come out of spawn, just put your zipline here with a slight incline, and you can just kind of jump in here. If you do it better, you can get all the way over here. I haven't learned like a specific line out for it. I haven't bothered enough. It's just go by feeling, and you're gonna end up right here, or up on the high grounds, just by hitting a zipline here or here. It's oh, sorry, no, yeah, it depends on which side you're looking at. This side wouldn't really work, but this side would. Just like that, and then you come up here. It's just perfect to immediately be able to shoot and off angle the enemies. And then finally, we got the new map, the Eternal Night. When you're defending on the first point, it's a bit awkward because this thing is here. You can't really destroy it this early in the game, but I do like going from the start here. You can also go from the top if you would rather do that, and then just ziplining here. There's probably a better way to do it, but that puts me on this tunnel here, and we can kind of just walk up here. As we get closer, now this is one part. You can also again come from the top, and you can drop down and you can play here. But once we get to this point, this is a common place to hold from, but maybe you want to get closer, or maybe you need to get closer. What you can do is make a zipline just like this, and that puts you right here. And that way you can hold here if you feel like doing that. more commonly we'll be holding from one of these high grounds on the defense. When you spawn on the second point, after the second point has been taken, I actually like going into the pool here or whatever, and then just doing a quick little zipline like this, and it puts us right here. And assuming they haven't pushed that far, maybe looking like this or something like that, you'll probably keep walking here, maybe do like a right click, just bounce a little bit. And this can be broken later, but you know, until it is, you just put a zip line more or less like this, and you will get here. And if you have one there like I do, you can do that too. But they'll put you right here, which is a great place to be. Generally speaking, you probably would play up here or maybe here. If they have pushed up farther, you just need to get out of spawn. I usually would come from the left side here, actually. So rather than from the right, we would come from the left here. And then I would just really just go from here and zipline like that. And that would put me in the window so I could shoot down. But anyways, so let's say that we are attacking instead, and you know, the cart is moved up a little bit. It's moved up to like this corner here, because obviously when you come out, you're not gonna be able to do any ziplines. What you could do is you come out of the left spawn here, just like that, and you could walk up here. But also what you could do is make a zipline this corner, and then you jump, and that'll put you right here on a great high ground, so you can shoot down. And if you really want to get a good angle from spawn, you could also go all the way down here. And this is going to be a little bit finicky. The tighter these are, the harder it is to do. Like that. And that puts you on this thing you can shoot down if you would like. But usually you'll probably be playing back there anyways. Once this is reverted, which it usually gets by the end of the fight, assuming you guys have been fighting it for a little while, you can also just do a zipline from around here or so. So on this corner here, jump before it's too late, and then you can actually get into the thing here. Depending when you jump, you could get up on here, or if your timing is a little bit better than mine, you could also get into the hole here. As you continue, so that puts you in the space for this fight here. You can also go to the left if you want to do a flank or off angle. Moving on, we have this part here. You usually probably just going to walk up here, but what you could do is walk to the left, make a zip line, and jump like that. You close the gap. Again, a little off angle or whatever. Now, these are probably going to be destroyed by the time you get here after you push them out, but assuming they haven't been... you can just zip line up like usual. Again, there's nothing special here. They're very simple to just kind of... You just get up on the high ground. I don't have like a crazy rollout to sell you here. But if you guys do... Also, if you guys do have any rollouts you do want to share, I'm thinking you can put it in my Reddit, r/ottr submissions. It is a great place to share tech and other cool things you find in the games I do play, which at the moment and probably for the next foreseeable future will be Marvel Rivals. So do... check that subreddit out. Now this can also be turned back later, but I'm not going to bother because I'm lazy, and I just wanted to show you guys this one here, because now this was a slightly different angle, something like that. You can get into here too. You can catch someone going out of spawn, you can ult them or whatever. Most of the time, again, you probably won't use these are risky plays you'll usually be followed up on, but if you are trying to make a big impact play with your ultimate or farming a clip, this is the perfect way to do it. Getting control of these high grounds makes a massive difference in your impact in the game, and it makes a lot of sense to focus on doing that. And even if you don't end up killing anyone, they'll have to deal with flush out of that position before doing anything else. It is almost 2 AM here. We've been doing this for the last 2 hours. Hope these rollouts are helpful. Again, check out the subreddit and put those there. On to the rest of the guide. The Punisher's ultimate ability activates 2 massive Gatling guns that can be fired infinitely until the ultimate runs out of time. They take a little bit to rev up before you start shooting, so I normally pre-rev them if I'm jumping around a corner or if I'm just moving around in general and don't want to be too slow and stationary and easy to snipe. At the time of this video, the Gatling guns will deal about 264 damage per second with a very slight bloom or spread that reduces as you keep firing them. As with his typical weapon, this can also headshot. And while it's enough to kill most heroes in most circumstances, obviously you're gonna run into issues using your ultimate against massive healers. But if you do somehow have incredibly accuracy, then you can still kill certain squishies through strong healing ultimates like Luna's or Cloak and Daggers if you have something like a rocket damage boost, and or if you keep hitting banger headshots on them. On its own, the final Judgement can actually kill enemies inside of the Invisible Woman's ultimate, so if you manage to snipe her out of it, then you get some insane value. The Gatling guns do have damage fall-off, so they're not as efficient over range, but it is pretty minimal, and thanks to the very high damage and the tight bloom, this doesn't stop you from being able to snipe enemies across all ranges. Not to mention that in most cases they won't be able to shoot back at you on account of not having nearly the same amount of damage over range. In addition to the 2 Gatling guns, the ultimate will also fire rockets against nearby enemies. During the duration of the ultimate, you're also immune to all types of crowd control. The ultimate has a near infinite amount of uses. I mean, you kind of just want to use it to kill everyone, but a few key ones that stand out to me is using it whenever the team needs more damage and the enemy team has burned a few cooldowns and they've started the fight. If they're already engaged and I'm sitting comfortably in the backline, then I can usually safely ult without getting dived for the next few seconds, which usually is enough for me to deal a ton of damage and hopefully win us the fight. fight. If I'm getting enough peel, I also enjoy using the ultimate to open up the point, since most of the Punisher's abilities are a bit awkward to make a massive impact with on their own. If I'm in a playmaking mood, I usually go for a cheeky zipline onto an off angle or into the air before activating my ultimate, and they rarely see it coming or are unable to react to it in time. It's a pretty good play, but relies on the element of surprise. When you are mid-ultimate, what matters the most is continuing to move forward and dealing as much damage as possible without dying, obviously. If you can get away with holding your primary fire, then you should do it, but jumping around and revving up while moving forward will usually open up more angles much faster. And keep in mind, you're really vulnerable during the ultimate, so you don't want to expose yourself to too many enemies at a time, so try only peeking one enemy at a time. As for target selection, due to your high damage output, I normally try to focus whatever enemies pose the highest threat for me first and then taking it from there. So if a Venom or some other tank is in my face, then I burst them down with my ultimate, and then I take care of the DPS, and then finally the supports. But if I am uncontested enough and the supports are open to get one clipped, then I usually take care of them if the opportunity arises. If you're playing against a Magneto, then they will probably either shield your ultimate or more commonly pop their own ultimate to counter yours. It is very common, so if you know their ultimate is up, make sure to ask for a shield or bubble before popping your ultimate. If the enemy Magneto does pop his ultimate to counter yours, then you can just keep shooting, and since the Punisher ultimate instantly charges up the Magneto ult, he will either have the meatball blow up or be forced to throw it somewhere else, since the shields will stop you from being deleted by it. Keep in mind, again, this only works if you do have shields. If you don't have shields, you probably want to get out of the way and wait for his ultimate to run out. The Magneto is your biggest threat, and after that, all you really have to mind is damage, because you obviously can't be stunned, so choose your targets accordingly. As with most of Punisher's kits, he needs a little bit of peel to really shine through, and his ultimate is no exception. Most people focus on Punisher when he ults, either while running away or just by throwing everything his way to kill him. And if your team isn't healing you up or giving you at least a semblance of peel, then you won't get past the judge jury before you're already dead. The Zipline into ultimate play helps a lot in situations where your team won't heal you, but you need to use your ultimate and get a big play to open up the point and win the game. Alternatively, another great way to open a point up and win the game with your ultimate is using it from a flank. Get into a comfortable position with a decent vantage point, wait for the fight to begin and enemy cooldowns to start being burned, and then feel free to use your ultimate and cause as much damage as possible. Just know that you probably will die doing this, so you need to make it worth it. But that was the ability, so let's talk a little bit more in depth. When it comes to positioning as a Punisher, in almost all cases, you're gonna want to play with the backline, dealing damage to the enemy's front line, but shooting at damage dealers or supports if needed. In addition to dealing a lot of damage overall, one of your primary jobs will be making sure that your supports are staying alive by fighting any divers that might be going for them. In return, the supports should be trying their best to keep you alive, and as soon as the immediate threats are taken care of, then you can turn to fight the rest of the enemy team together. The power of friendship. If you're playing really close to your supports with a shotgun in hand, then you can usually stop heroes like Black Panther, Spider-Man, or Magic from doing anything at all with 2 or 3 good pumps. From the shotgun. And of course the smoke grenade. Sometimes, especially if the enemy team is pushing you up and leaving a good support exposed, then you should look into taking a quick off angle. If you time it right and you can hit enough of your shots, then you can usually catch a support off guard and beam them down while they're distracted, or at the very least before the rest of the enemy team can react. If I get a huge flank off, I like to swap to my shotgun and get really close here, since it'll burst them down way faster, especially with the element of surprise, than if you just use the assault rifle. When it comes to bans, I wouldn't say that there is one hero that makes playing Punisher that much harder or impossible, but Captain America can be a big pain in the ass to deal with, so I would look out for him if I were you. Though I don't think he's really worth banning unless you're playing against a one-trick. Since you're usually playing in the back or on smaller high grounds, you're usually pretty prone to spam heroes as well, so look out for heroes like Hawkeye or Squirrel Girl who can rock your world if they fill your position up with projectiles, but again, I wouldn't ban them. As for counters, overall I want to say that Punisher is one of the best counters against flyers if you have good aim and positioning, but obviously sometimes you might need a little bit of heal or help from your team as well. Additionally, the shotgun is incredibly good at bursting tanks that jump in or forcing duels against melee or dive DPS that might be jumping you. Since there is kind of an animation to swapping to your shotgun, you kind of have to be prepared to use it ahead of time. But usually divers make it very clear when they're about to dive you. When playing a Punisher, what matters the most is making sure that the enemies that are immediate threats to you or your backline are dealt with first. Once there is less pressure, then you can start plinking away at the rest of the team. That being said, there are some heroes that definitely are your job to deal with on your own that will require additional focus. Generally speaking, those will be the flyers. Heroes like Iron Man or Storm or whatever hero is up in the sky is almost always going to be your priority. Sometimes you'll need to focus whoever is pressuring you and your backline first, but in most cases, these heroes will just be sitting up in the sky and be really easy kills if they overextend, not to mention that they actively will be pressuring you and your backline as long as they are up there with spam and continuous damage. If you do a good job keeping flyers out of the sky, then they will usually start playing behind cover or flying a lot lower, which means they will be harder to beam. Additionally, since Punisher is about 50% positioning and 50% raw aim, taking the time out of your day to make sure that your aim is at its peak performance will net you significantly better results. There's a pretty simple routine that you can do inside of the firing range that will help you get better control, and it just takes a few minutes. I would suggest doing this a few minutes every day before getting on. Jump into the firing range, you go down to this floor. On the console on the right, you can select what heroes you want to practice against. I normally set everything as far as possible at the highest speed and random movement. Then I quit out and hit the other console, which spawns bots that will run around, giving me a chance to practice my aim. Either I try standing still, or I'm dodging and moving, or just trying to mirror them. But doing this routine a little bit before you start playing every game will make a massive difference. Not just on Punisher, obviously, but since aim takes up so much of its actual in-game output, making sure that your aim is the best it can be will make or break how well you play in game. Another great drill I've started doing is spawning the enemies really close and then trying to hit flicks on them with the shotgun, taking additional time to try and one-pumping them with a headshot. This is especially useful to practice since you easily can hit enemies on the left of your aim if they're close enough, which is something we have covered on this channel before. And one more thing, when it comes to his crosshair, I've found that the Punisher benefits the most from a dot crosshair, or potentially a normal crosshair with a dot in the middle, which helps track targets across most ranges. In most cases, I like to make the dot wider at about 25 points since it helps me hit my flicks with the shotgun, but if you don't struggle with keeping up with where your crosshair is, then you could go for a smaller one as well. Sadly, there isn't a way to have separate crosshairs when you have the shotgun out or the assault rifle out, so using a crosshair that works for both of them at the same time will be ideal. But anyways, that was it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have been enjoying these guides so far. I'm planning to continue with these guides for every single hero so you guys know exactly how to play every single one. And if you guys want to stay tuned for that, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace out.